When it comes to ARK, underwater caves are everywhere, so we proudly present Top 10 6-man underwater caves on ARK. This video is sponsored by Azura. Azura is a 25x server with 2-man tribes. Azura has 7 maps and they rotate monthly. Azura has insta-tame, fast breeding rates, boosted rates for solo and duo tribes, and custom supply drops. Azura has an in-game shop but does not allow any pay to win. Azura offers new player protection, turret filler, and a ton of other great plugins. Come join Azura today, the link is in the description. Coming at number 10, this can be found at 44.5 latitude and 14.7 longitude on Lost Island. Now here it is on the map. It can be found in about the middle far left corner of the map. Now this spot is a little bit of a tricky one to find because there are a lot of kelp underwater that basically covers this little entrance. However, when you learn where this spot is, it's going to be super easy for getting in and out of. Now, coming through here, you'll notice it is a bit of a long hallway to get in, which means you can easily put a few turret walls in there, or maybe an underwater turret tower, really up to you. Now this spot isn't the biggest, but it's a nice, open, kind of out of the water cave, so if you are looking to build underwater but don't want to use the vacuum compartments and make it a big mess, this is a really good hidden spot that I guarantee you a lot of people will not find you in. Coming at number 9, this can be found at 10.7 latitude and 23.6 longitude on Ragnarok. Now here it is on the map. Now this cave is Underwater Mushroom Cave. A lot of you guys already probably know this spot, but for the few of you that don't, this cave is just absolutely enormous. And the reason for you probably not finding it is because the entrance is literally covered in these, and even for a massive entrance, it can still be pretty hidden with all those vines and stuff out front. Now this entrance is enormous, so you're going to have to put a massive turret wall on this, so if you're fine with that, it is a great spot for you. Now on the inside, it actually opens up into more of like a air pocket kind of thing, and there's a lot of room in here. Now one big issue that I have noticed with this is that it's pretty much surrounded by water, so raft raiding can be a little annoying in here, but I would recommend building honestly in the ceilings, as building in the ceilings is actually smarter and better for base defense. Now you do need to watch out as this cave is 6x damage, so make sure to look out for that, but if you are fine with experimenting with this cave and maybe putting a pretty big base in here, it is a great spot for a 6-man tribe. Now coming at number 8, this can be found at 16.3 latitude and 73.8 longitude, and here it is. This can be found on Crystal Isles. But anyways, here it is on the map, and this spot is pretty much the only good underwater spot on Crystal, as Crystal for some reason doesn't really have any main big underwater caves to really live in, so this one's kind of more of a rat hole, but it works as a cave too. Now anyways, coming in here, there's a bit of an awkward layout. Now that little sand that you're seeing at the bottom, building in it can be a little tricky, so make sure to watch out for that. But I would recommend building a little bit farther in the packs, so then you can be able to push a bigger turret wall kind of in here, so that you have more defense. Now the entrance is very small, so underwater raiding is going to be a little difficult, and I only think that they'd really even be able to get in here with turtles. But anyways, makes for a pretty good spot. Coming at number 7, this can be found at 44.5 latitude and 14.7 longitude on the center. Now this is a very commonly known spot, as it is the underwater bubble. Now the underwater bubble is a lot of the time it is really overlooked as just being a huge underwater cave, as people can come in from any side of this thing and just raid you. But if you really look at it, there are a lot of really cool aspects that you may have not known about. Like for the one fact is that you cannot get any flyers in here, and you can't throw in any flyers out. The flyers for some reason float up to the top of the cave, and it's really awkward. Another great thing is you cannot put rock golems in here and a lot of other soakers. Now, however, you can use a teleporter and get them inside, but you cannot walk them through the kind of bubble barrier, whatever they have it. Now, there's a ton of room in here. I recommend building in the ceiling, as I've done that in the past. There's also a second entrance over here, but it makes for a very good spot if you know how to build it right. Coming at number 6, this can be found at 50.9 latitude and 45.0 longitude on Fjordor. And then here it is on the map. But this can be found pretty much dead middle of the map, along with another really good cave that is right next to this one. But anyways, this spot is a pretty overpowered cave if you can build it right. Now the entrance is gonna be a little bit tricky to build in, but if you can learn that little entrance pattern and figure out a good turret wall or a good turret tower to put on it, it'll make for a great spot. On the inside, you have a ton of water area to basically store water dinos like Tusos for base defense, and then up top you have a lot of room. There are two main platforms to build on, one being this bigger one off to my right, and the other one being over here. But we'll get to that here in a second. Now the underwater area is just massive. I mean, you can fit a ton of dinos in here, you could do water breeding, really whatever that you want. Now over here is the second platform. Now this is the main area where I usually put the main base, but it's up to you how you want to build this cave. Coming at number 5, this can be found at 44.3 latitude and 69.0 longitude on Genesis Part 2. Now here it is on the map, but this can be found in the underwater area of the map, so make sure that you go through the little ports that are basically poking out of the water. That's how you get into the underwater area. Now coming in here, I know that this is not really a cave and it's more of just a kind of a base spot, but this spot is a really cool spot if you're looking to build in a more modern kind of man-made area of the map, which I personally like a lot. Now, if you look in here, you have actual palm trees, so you have trees that'll keep coming back. Now, one downside is that you have 2 water entrances, but other than that, I feel like it would make for a pretty cool base spot. Coming at number 4, this can be found at 89.9 latitude and 36.0 longitude, and then here it is on the map. But this can be found on the island. Now this is known as the Pro Cave. There are a pretty good amount of Pro Caves on the island, but this is pretty much one of my favorites. Only issue with this one is that it is a little tricky to figure out how to defend, as you have 2 main entrances, but it's really just one big entrance because they kind of combine. Now one issue with this is that main entrance, because you can get a stego in there, you can get a good amount of soakers up here, but this is the biggest Pro Cave on the island, as you have a ton of room to build in. If it wasn't for that big rock in the middle, you'd have even more room. But I've built in here once in the past, and it's made for a pretty good spot. Only issue is that it's 6x damage, but makes for a nice base spot if you can put a big turret wall on the front. Coming at number 3, this can be found at 9.5 latitude and 21.7 longitude. This can also be found on the island. Here it is on the map, and this one is pretty close to the last one, as it is another Pro Cave. Now this is more of a smaller, more known kind of Pro Cave on the island. It is a very common one, and this was honestly, I feel like, the first big area on ARK whenever it first came out, and everyone's like, whoa, this spot's just insane. But nowadays, it's really not the best spot, but there are a lot of different ones that are better now. But anyways, the spot still makes for a great spot, as it's super far underwater, and it's surrounded by Moses, Tusos, Plesiosaurs. I mean, there's a ton of stuff that an enemy would have to fight off just to get in here. Not to mention that this one is not 6x. I don't really know what it is, but I know it's a little bit less. I think it's maybe 5 or 4x. But anyways, coming at number 2, this can be found at 47.3 latitude and 42.6 longitude on Fjordor. Now this is the cave that I was talking about, that I said was literally right next to the other one. So if you just swim down a few feet, you'll find this one. Now, this one I personally like a lot more, because it is a bigger version of the Pro Cave that's on the island, in my opinion. I love the layout of this. It is a nice cave with a lot of lighting in it. Yes, it has a bigger entrance, but you have a lot more room for a pretty good sized turret wall to go out front. And there's a lot more flat room in here. Not to mention you have a ton of oil and rocks and a ton of crystal too. Now, this one is 4x damage, I believe. Correct me if I'm wrong, but there's a lot of room for you to build in here. It's great for a 6-man that is looking to build a really good size underwater cave. But anyways, let's move on to number 1. And coming at number 1, this can be found at 71.7 latitude and 0.6 longitude, and this can be found on Fjordor. Now of course, you may have guessed it. This is the underwater Fjordor Cave that today is the most overpowered underwater cave on ARK to this day, so it's going to probably be updated in the future with some better ones. But the reason why this one is so overpowered is because if you come in here, it goes upward. Now going upward makes it very, very difficult for a raider to have to raid this cave. Not to mention, once you come in here, you're greeted with this nice flat entrance that you can smack 2 or 3 giant turret walls on. Now if that didn't really prove to you that it is the most overpowered spot, you come through here and you have even more room to build more turret walls or more turret towers. Now the 100 turret limit really works out in this cave a lot because you have a lot of room to just expand and basically push a lot of stuff back. Now the nice part about this cave is that it is more of a man-made kind of cave, so it looks a little bit better in my opinion. You have a lot of really cool aspects that you would not find on other maps like the island, and you even have lava in the cave, not to mention the big maze that is in the back. But anyways, that's it for this video. Thanks for watching.